I think that overall, there was, we all witnessed an incredibly positive amount of feedback in terms of the support that many of the victims received publicly, the messages that they are believed, the support for them, in whether that meant, in removing Walder from some of his positions that gave him access to vulnerable people, or whether it was just general messages to the victims. And that was something that was so significant, and a lot of it really very positive, and a change, a shift from what we'd seen in the past.
Right. And of course, as I said, that special religious or rabbinical court was convened in the northern town of Sfat. However, I have to say, I saw on social media some of the, if you could call them notices or obituaries of his death in some of the Haredi media outlets did not mention the allegations. Also, some other comments, almost, if you want to say, defending him or excusing him on social media from within the Ultra-Orthodox community. So obviously, I guess there's still more work to be done.
There's a lot more work to be done. There is a ways to go. I will say, and I don't say this in defense of those kinds of, publications, because I think that kind of messaging is really harmful, and that attitude of sweeping it under the rug is what has caused so much damage for so many years. But I do think that there has to be acknowledgement of the fact that this is an incredibly shocking situation. And I know that for many people, and I say this too in terms of some of the comments of social media, on social media, which I believe come from just a place of total ignorance and shock. And I think that we need to keep that in mind, while at the same time prioritizing the fact that we need to be sending positive messages towards the victims, and reminding them that, well, first of all, of course, this is absolutely not their fault. Because there is so much blame being directed at them. If you just would have kept it quiet, this wouldn't have happened.
Well, let me jump in there, because this is, of course, the second case within a year where a prominent and, to some cases, admired, even beloved figure in the ultra-Orthodox community was accused of sexual abuse and either committed suicide, as Chaim Walder did, or in the other case, Yehuda Meshi Zahav, attempted suicide and is now in a coma. And could that have the effect of what you're saying? Some people saying, you brought it out in the open, and of course the result is these people commit suicide.
I mean, I think it's clear that there's serious potential damage that can be done from those kinds of messages being directed at victims. And it is so crucial right now to remind victims that they are not responsible for the actions of others. They're not responsible for the abuse itself, despite what the abuser might have told them and often does tell them. And they're certainly not responsible for whatever actions he or she chooses to take afterwards to deal with the after effects of what he or she did. This was their act. This was the abuser or alleged abuser's actions and behaviors that led to this situation, not theirs. And that message does need to be around. Thankfully, I will say that, just for example, today, immediately after the news broke, we received many, many calls from victims, including one who actually said to me, called me really in hysterical tears and said, I've been thinking for years about pressing charges against my abuser. I went to therapy. I always had it in the back of my mind, but I thought I wasn't ready yet. And today, when I saw the news, I realized, what if he kills himself and I never get the chance to face him? And I need to have that chance to face him, and I want to go report to the police. So in some cases, it can also have, thankfully, the opposite effect of sort of motivating, okay, I need to take the opportunity to confront my abuser if that's what I'm ready to do and that's what I want to do. And I want to have that opportunity. And it's incredibly difficult for many victims of both of Meshi Zahav's and of Chaim Walder's that they didn't have that opportunity.
Right, they didn't have that closure. And I will just say the allegations against Chaim Walder were extremely disturbing, to the point where we can't even detail what some of them are. Shana Aaronson of Magen for Jewish Communities, thank you for joining us again on I-24 News.
Thank you.